Hello everybody, Blue Dooley, and I'm filming a different intro because I didn't get as much work done as I would have liked to this evening. I really struggled with trying to get some holes to line up correctly, and a couple of my welds didn't work out really good, so I had to cut some parts off, re-weld some stuff, and I tried the time lapse on this camera, but I didn't set it up right. So there's going to be a very short time lapse, and that's about it. Apologize, this video is going to be shorter than normal. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, and well, also the furnace kicked on every time I tried to film, so I didn't get as much filming done. But on to the build. And we're back on the Wheelie King. But first, I got a 6-inch cross slide vise for my drill press. Is this too big for my drill press? Yeah, it is. However, if you're like me and would like some more precision in your hole when you drill holes in things, and your center punch doesn't always go where you want it to, and you get mad, this is a solution. So I decided I'm not going to use the plastic shock tower mounts for the Wheelie King. I'm going to use some square tubing instead, but I would like the holes to be even on each side. And 3 attempts, that never happened. So it's not perfect. I had to swing the actual table out of the way, put this on a couple of 2x4s to get the height right. So it's not bolted down at the moment, but I'm wiggling the whole workbench when I do that, not this. But that gives me plenty of travel for the drill bit. I could bring it up just a teensy bit more, but I think for what I'm doing at the moment, this is going to work out pretty all right. I was actually looking at the drill press itself, and I could actually probably take it off the base and make it work even better. That might be something I'll look at later, but right now the important things are I can actually move the piece underneath the drill bit and get the more precise hole locations that I want and need, because really I'm kind of sick of not having stuff line up. So I'm hoping with this extra light shining on here, because my bulb burnt out, hopefully you can see this really good. In the preview, it looks like you can. So I already got the piece centered or where I want it, left to right, and in and out. So now I can poke this hole and then run this in and drill the exact same hole on the other side, and then do the same thing to this piece of tubing. Then I can weld this to the chassis, and then these will be the shock mounts, as I couldn't really get the plastic ones tight enough, so when the shock moves it kind of wants to wiggle the shock mount up and down like that. So we're going to weld in the shock mounts. And I think that'll work a lot better. I'm just going to poke through the whole thing. And then all we got to do is just crank this over. And this actually does have marks on both feeds. So if you really need precision, this can definitely do it. Now I'm sure there are much more expensive units that have a lot more precision in them, and I think I'm going to run into my stand before I get to the part. Yep. don't want to drill on this part. So I might have to take this out and move it, looks like. Because yeah, it slid the base into this. That's why you need a bigger drill press, so the chuck is actually out away from your upright further to get fully range out of this thing. Let's see here, the hole is just about a little over 1/16 of an inch. And then I just gotta remember which way it needs to go. Sweet! Well, after some trial and error and some swearing, I have a chassis. I got the rear shock mount fully welded in. I got the front one tacked in. And I have a few too many holes. So these 4 larger holes, I'm going to weld them up like they welded up on the back end here. And then I believe this hole here, and on the other side needs welded up. Need to touch up a few welds, and then of course fully weld in the front. I am going to put one more cross piece here in the front. I think I'm actually going to put a little piece of flat stock here. So if I want to, I can actually mount a winch upside down. And like I said, I still haven't figured out bumpers or anything like that yet. Body mounts. Body mounts, I think I'm going to actually weld up from the front up and then brace it back here to the shock tower, kind of make a triangle, and then just put a flat piece of stock across, and then I can just Velcro the front of the body of the chassis, and then Velcro the rear of the chassis, body to the chassis. I think that's going to work out really well. The battery, of course, sits here between this piece and these 2 pieces. And actually, looking down the frame rails, I actually kept everything pretty straight. The motor and transmission are the things I took out last, and they just pulled right out the top. No issues or hang-ups there. So I think we're going to try the Action 4's time-lapse. And I'm just going to put this in the vise and clean up some welds. I also need to clean up right here the edges of my bottom, and then I might just take a little bit of the square stock or cut another piece of flat to just kind of come up here just at a random angle to kind of make it look a little better than it is right now. So yeah, we'll time lapse, weld up some holes, grind it flush. I actually slowed down the time lapse so there would actually be more than 2 seconds of footage. I need to work on my settings, but it does a good job. Once again, just have the body sitting on the plastic body mounts, mainly so I can measure for metal ones, although I'm not 100% sold on if I'm going to do metal ones or not. But the chassis itself is pretty much finished. I did, however, make a mistake with these pieces here. They come out too far away from the chassis, so these links can't bolt to the inside of the chassis. They have to bolt to the outside. I don't think that's actually going to hurt anything, but suspension-wise, pretty well happy with the way things are. The front shocks kind of lean a little bit over, so that's a little frustrating, although they're in the center hole of the axle, so if I move them out to the front hole on the axle, that'll actually put them in the right spot. The rear shocks are in pretty good shape. So, like I said, I haven't decided if I'm going to use the stock Wheelie King body mounts or not. I could actually every goddamn time. That's part of the reason why I haven't been doing much videoing. So I could actually drill bigger holes in the cross tube here that holds the shocks and use these mounts, and then drill a hole to just run a screw and hold these in place. Like I said, I really kind of wanted the body mount out further to the closer to the front of the truck, just to kind of keep it from tearing up the nose. And then also I wanted to go towards the rear quite a bit, although that does leave it, if it lands on its lid, there's nothing here in the center to keep it from smashing the body that way. So the chassis is pretty well finished up. Need to touch up a few things, and I do got the rearmost cross piece in, and the frontmost cross piece in. The suspension mounts are fully welded in. Everything's fully welded. So that at least is making some progress. But yeah, I messed up on these pieces, so these links have to mount to the outside of the frame unless I grind a bunch off, and then they can mount on the inside once again. But the truck has pretty good flex. I mean, there's no weight on the chassis right now, so it could go a little more. But the shocks aren't too springy, so I'm happy with the way those shocks work with the 20 weight oil in them. So that's going to do it for this video. It's late, and I am kind of frustrated between my welding not being as good as I want. Getting holes lined up was just a fight. So, and every time I turn it on the camera, it seems like the damn furnace kicks on. So I'm kind of aggravated. So that is going to do it for this video. Next video, I think I am just going to skip ahead, get the body mounted, tear it apart, get everything painted. The snowplow still needs some work too, and I'm not 100% sure if I have enough gas to weld up a new plow or not. Well, catch you in the next video.